Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Yeah, this season I actually had little business cards made. Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM. You can keep that. Sure, the players are famous, but come game day, I decide their fate. What's that? Oh, you make $20 million? Well, I don't like your attitude. You benched! No, I'd never bench an all-star, but I could. That's also why I like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. With options based on my budget, they never throw me a curveball. That's a little baseball reference for you.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This podcast is brought to you by Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce. A great sauce starts with the best ingredients. Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is that great sauce. Inspired by our founder's original recipe, Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is made with delicious ingredients, including vine-ripened tomatoes, chopped onions, garlic, and olive oil, simmered together for the authentic taste you and your family will want to come back to. For recipes, sauces, and mealtime inspiration, visit ragu.com.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Guten Tag, my friends. Oktoberfest 2020, canceled in Germany, canceled most everywhere, but not here. Virtual Oktoberfest 2020. JR here, and welcome everybody. We're going to make the best of this Oktoberfest celebration. First, we're going to introduce each other. We have 4 Beer Nuts here, and JR here in Corona de Tucson, Arizona. And the last Untapped check-in I had was Black is Beautiful from the brewery in Southern California, where I was there with Steve V just a few days ago. Great time. Always great time having beers with him. And we had a few. And this Black is Beautiful stout from the brewery was delicious. And thankfully, I have 3 more because I bought a 4-pack. So let's head back east and welcome back our long-lost friend, Christopher.
Yes, I'm back. You know, it's been a crazy year, but the good news is I'll be back with you on a lot more of these. So I'm in St. Clair Shores, and my last Untapped check-in was, it's classic, at least around here, and I'm learning nationally, a Bell's Two-Hearted Ale.
Oh, awesome. All righty, then over to Clausen, to Dugout.
Good evening, everyone. This is Dugout. I am in Clausen, Michigan, and I'm going to give my last Untapped check-in as a beer we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show, and it is called Teamaker Harvest Pale Ale.
Harvest, does that mean fresh hops?
It might.
All right.
Well, we'll find out. You got
stay
to stay tuned. Yeah.
Further details. And then Steve V out in Los Angeles, California.
Hello, everybody from Southern California. This is Steve V. My last check-in was luckily with JR when we stopped at the brewery, and I enjoyed a free on the house pistachio mustachio. It was a double imperial stout. It was delish, smooth, and nutty.
Yes, and Dugout, you'll be happy to know I got an extra can for you because I saw a pistachio beer and I knew you'd have to have one.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, yep.
We'll get it sent north along with a box for you to send some Coonan beer back to me.
Okay, yeah, we need to get that sent before it starts evaporating more.
Oh, no, before I make my next order this year.
I'll just add other stuff where there were empties.
Well, please protect it from John Golden. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I did my best. I mean, you might have lost one the other night, but I did do my best.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, please, listeners, please crack open a cold one. Enjoy a beer with us. If you have an Oktoberfest beer, fine. If not, whatever you like is fine with us. Whether it's a Miller Lite, a Michelob Ultra, or a Unibrew Le Fin de Monde, there is room at our table and at our bar for you. So we just want to reiterate the motto of the show. We are not a bunch of pretentious beer snobs. We just want to introduce more good people to more good beer. So Chris, cue up some music and let's start the festivities. Anybody else want to go first? If not, I'm going to go because I'm thirsty. I'm going to crack open this can of Santan Brewing Company Oktoberfest German-style lager. 5.5% alcohol from the Santan Brewing Company. I believe in Chandler, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix. The can says a German-style lager that celebrates tradition with a toasty, strong caramel malt profile, offering a cream twist lager flavor made for autumn enjoyment. So let's crack this open. Comes in a 12-ounce can. Pouring it in my 1-liter mug. Not going to be very much liquid in there, but I assure you I'll be filling this up with a beer later. Because what's Oktoberfest without a 33-ounce liter of Oktoberfest beer? So cheers, everybody. I just poured this. It's a really nice ruby copper amber color. Really super clear. You can see through. It just got a wonderful appearance to it. Nice, healthy one-finger head that's not going away right away, even in this 1-liter mug. The beer looks the part, and the description on the can fits the Oktoberfest Marzen profile to a T. So I'm taking a whiff of this thing, and it's pretty far down in the glass, so I get that nice German lager, little German malt, noble hops. And I get maybe a little bit of a caramel, nutty aroma, so let's taste it. Oh, yeah. Just what you would expect. Brewed perfectly to style. Does have that caramel, nutty, bready texture to it. Nice caramel, malty flavor. Not really a whole lot of hops, which what there is more in the aroma and the noble hops. Noble hops are less pronounced than the big bitter hops we're used to and with IPAs in the United States, but it's actually perfectly brewed to style. Pretty good job these guys have done, Santan. Take another sip here. So when I take a sip, I just want to drink more. It's probably mild to medium bodied. You certainly could drink several of these, but it's not thin by any means. It's got like a little bit of a medium, like I said, maybe a little bit on the lighter side of medium body, but great flavor in this. Great color, really good appearance, and I'm really enjoying it. So it's a good way to kick this episode off. And all I can say to Christopher is please keep that German music going. One of the reasons we wanted to do this episode, we've done Oktoberfest before, but it's very unfortunate that another casualty of the dreaded COVID-19. The official big party in Munich is canceled this year. I'm reading an article from some of the German press, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but I can tell you that Bavaria's Minister President Markus Söder announced it would be canceled, and everybody is crushed by it. But it hurts. It's such a pity, he says. But we've agreed the risk is simply too high. So
it's a crowd. No crowds.
Probably a million people coming from all over the world and a bunch of crowded beer tents probably wouldn't be very good to keep the coronavirus contained. I don't think there's any way you could keep 6 people apart when they're drinking 33-ounce liter mugs of beer all day.
Or a mask on.
Yeah, well, got to have that mask that you can drink with, too. Huh?
Right.
So I do like the one thing this article is, again, I'm not going to read, but there's a video here. But just the name of the gentleman in the video is Oberburgermeister Dieter Reeder. So I'll drink the Oberburgermeister. What a great title. So Christopher I.W., the Oberburgermeister of this episode. Cheers. Prost, no cheers. Wrong country. So who wants to go next?
I'll go next. Since I poured my beer. So, my choice for today is from Pocock Brewing Company out of Santa Clarita, California. And I will be enjoying their Pocock Oktoberfest. And it's a Dunkel. And it's a great-looking label. It's got his buffed out rooster and a crown over his head, and it's got these great flags in the background, and traditional Bavarian flags style. And so I poured this beer, and it's dark, and it's got a great head, and the ABV on this isn't very high, as I recall looking at it. I'm trying to find it on the can. I don't see it on the can, but I want to say it was like 4 point something, but I'll verify that. But like I said, it's very very dark. I mean, you can't even see. You're not looking through this thing. And I poured it a couple of minutes ago, and it still has a nice head on it. Got a little caramel flavor, smell to it. Not very strong. Doesn't have like a really strong alcoholic smell to it. Wow, very good. Oh my goodness. Great taste on it. Nice and malty. Like I said, the color on it, it tastes like the color. Very dark and rich. Very good mouthful on it. Smooth all the way through. No bitterness to it. A really, really great beer. If you can find it, or like I said, it's kind of tough out in some of your areas, but anyone out listening, and if they can get out to their local stores and find this, I highly recommend it. It's great tasting beer.
Awesome. Well, send us a pic and I'll put it on Instagram so everybody.
I will. Thank goodness I have a 6-pack of it, because this is really, really good. One of the best tasting beers I've had so far this year, I think.
Yeah,
some good stuff.
One of the things, and I've mentioned this before, but when we do episodes like this, you kind of forget about different beer styles. We get caught in a rut of, having hazy IPAs all the time, or pastry stouts, whatever it may be. But I like doing episodes like this where we kind of go back to the basics and rediscover styles that we know exist and kind of overlook. And this time of the year, man, what a great brew, especially where it's getting a little colder up north. I'm still down here in Arizona, where it's pretty warm, and pretty warm probably in Southern California too. But the weather's starting to turn, and it's perfect time to start drinking something that's a little bit darker, but it's not quite yet stout season, although you could argue it's always stout season year-round for me. But really enjoy rediscovering these classic traditional German styles. And I did forget to mention on the beer I reviewed that there's a really cool-looking cartoon of a dog wearing a German hat and with a mug of beer. So maybe I'll sneak my dog a sip of this later.
There you go.
Just an update. The ABV on this is a 5.4. So something you can enjoy, as the starts cooling down, and you want something out and about, and as it gets a little more toasty, it's a great fall beer. Great, like I said, the whole atmosphere of this beer is really, really good. So enjoy it very much.
Roast. Well, Oberbürgermeister, no Ziggy Zaki song, or Eins, Zwei, Drei, so far.
Hold on.
Cue it up. Let's have some fun. There we go.
Everybody drink.
Yep.
Cheers.
Prost. Ziggy Zaggy, Ziggy Zaggy.
See, I'm of the age. I always think of the Man Show when I hear that.
I was just about to say that. What was that old dude's name?
The Fox.
He was on there forever. What was his name?
His nickname was the Fox.
Yeah, that guy.
And then he just slam a big old stein full of beer.
Well, that's what they do in Germany too. So, great song. Let's hear that a few more times tonight. So, everybody drink when they hear it, and drink early, drink often, and enjoy.
I know. Drink when you don't hear it.
Canceled in Germany, but it's not canceled here. Virtual Oktoberfest. All right, who's up next?
I guess I'll go next, because Doug's always got the grand finale, or just, he's always outclassing everybody, which is good. He should. But I got from Frankenmuth Brewery, Oktoberfest seasonal lager. I mean, it's
Perfect.
just straight down the middle here. No muss, no fuss. The label looks at someone who's probably on unemployment this year. A German woman with pigtails and all the garb, holding up a mug. But no Oktoberfest this year means she's just modeling for beer labels. Pouring this thing in the glass. I mean, it's something pretty in line with everything we've had tonight. A nice copper gold color. Not letting light through though. It's a Marzen, however you're supposed to say that. 5.27 ABV, 27 IBUs. You stick your nose in it. I mean, it's very sweet. You're getting a little bit of that noble hops too. A nice, even little lacing on this thing. You move it around the glass, taking a sip. The glass is already half gone, so that just kind of tell you how I feel about it. And it's the malt up front, it's the hops in back, real easy drinking. I was trying to explain to my wife earlier tonight, just what Oktoberfest styles are. First of all, I couldn't remember the styles for the life of me. It took me a second. But they're darker beers that drink easier. And it's kind of where generally you talk about dark beer to people, they think of what do you say, Jared? The beers you can chew, that kind of stuff. These are your easy drinkers. Still 5.27. That ain't too shabby. But yeah, it's definitely not fizzy yellow beer. But it's not one of these beers that you have one and you're done because it's so heavy. This is delicious. It's pretty much already gone. I mean, if you're from Michigan, Frankenmuth, you go there. It's got the German heritage. It's got the chicken, it's got the beer, it's got Brauner's, but I mean, it's, for Michigan, this is great. If you can get your hands on it, go nuts.
Yeah, Frankenmuth is known for their German style beers. That's a great, perfect that you selected that for this episode, because that's right up their alley.
And they have a wiener dog usually on their labels.
Yes, sir. Well, I was going to almost call this episode Brats and Beer, but I thought we're not going to be deprived of the Oktoberfest like everyone else has. We're going to bring it back. So just a little bit of quick trivia on Oktoberfest, and then we'll go to Dugout. The festival is held 16 to 18 days, running from mid or late September to the first Sunday in October. So a lot of people are like, why are you doing Oktoberfest in September? Well, the real Oktoberfest starts in mid to late September and ends in the first Sunday in October. So it's perfectly appropriate. This would be right around the time it was probably opening up over there. So 6 million people usually come every year. Locally, it is called Devisen, after the colloquial name for the fairgrounds. The event has been held since 1810 in Munich, Bavaria. And, of course, other cities across the world hold Oktoberfest celebrations modeled after the original event. One thing you won't find on the internet is that it's a bucket list thing for me. I really want to go to this someday before I die. So hopefully I'll get there someday, but what a bummer that it's off. Somebody was saying they knew somebody who was going and was having a hard time getting money back and stuff. Who was that talking about that before the show?
Yeah, I had some, Stevie, I had some coworkers that made plans, and they made all the flight arrangements and the hotel stays, and they were supposed to stay in New York before they flew over the pond, and they got all their money back from their airfare and the hotels and stuff in Germany, but here in the United States, in New York, they're going through grief and trying to get their money back from the Airbnb.
All you had to do is say New York, and we understand. New York, New York, so nice, they named it twice. Yeah, right.
ChristopherMedia.net.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth, and as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late. And that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
ChristopherMedia.net.
All right, I dug out. I think you're up.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. So what I have here is a beer from North Peak Brewing, and this one is called Dauntless. And one of the reasons I chose this one is because of a discussion. He's not with us tonight that I was having with John Golden, but I'll describe the discussion after I review this beer. This pours in more of a copper golden color. This is listed as Oktoberfest lager. Pretty low at 18 IBUs, 5.8%, so it's got a bit of a kick to it than most Oktoberfest do. It has Tettnang and Hallertauer hops, so the noble hops that he spoke of earlier. It's got some real nice bready malt nose to it. Some nice lacing on the glass, good head retention. It's really bready and sweet. It's everything you think of almost when you think of an Oktoberfest. And when I say almost, the discussion we were having is that a lot of Oktoberfest beers, and this really falls on American craft brew, is typically a Märzen style and not an Oktoberfest style, the true Oktoberfest styles. I think we did an Oktoberfest show a few years back with the Steiner Oktoberfest, and that was a golden lager. It was not brown. And that was more of the traditional style. At some point, it started to drift more towards a copper color, like dark copper, almost to like an English brown color, not quite that dark. But a lot of the ones you see, and almost everything you see American craft, is that Märzen style. So when it decided to move over that way, I don't know, but I thought it was an interesting point and an interesting beer discussion we were having about it. So I decided to go towards the other end, more of the traditional style, which this Dauntless is. Outside of the ABV, like I said, the ABV is pretty high. North Peak is part of a consortium with Jolly Pumpkin and with what's the other guy? There's one other one. Can't think of it right now, but these guys do great stuff, and they've got a brew pub in Traverse City. They're typically known for a lot of their IPAs, their Diabolical IPA, and then they've got a wet hop beer that they do every year that is just phenomenal. And I always enjoy having some beer by them. But this one does not disappoint. It's my second time having it this year. I bought another 6-pack about a couple weeks ago, and so when I heard the show was going to be this, I decided to just run out and grab one of these guys. You guys can find it. I definitely check it out. It's easy drinking. It's got a lot of malt sweetness. It's everything you expect from an Oktoberfest, just a little lighter in color.
Awesome. Yeah, and I actually remember doing a little research on this the last time we did an Oktoberfest, and you're right, the the beer that they pour at the festival is not Marzen style. It's more of a Helles, like a light yellow style, and I think it's not really too strong ABV because you're drinking this stuff all day and you're drinking liters of it at a time, but it'll still catch up with you when you're drinking a liter at a time. But you are absolutely correct. Even though in America the Marzen style, and there is some history there, that it is a beer that comes out every fall, but for the festival when everybody's crushing beers, it's not really the beer. I'm sure they probably have it available, but you're not going to find too many Germans drinking that. They're drinking the Helles Lager or the lighter style like you have, the more yellow. What was the ABV, Doug?
This one's at 5.8, so yeah, this one will really catch up with you. I think most of the Oktoberfests are at least a full percentage point down in that 4.8, 4.9 range, and some are even lower in the 4.5.
Yeah, all right, man. Well, everybody's had a beer, so let's do another Ziggy Zuck. And I got a 33-ounce liter of a beer I'm going to present next. But before then, let's hear some music and more celebration, just like they do in the real deal. Drink up. Try. Kasofa. All right. Ziggy Zaggy, oi, oi. So I can remember one great place that had an Oktoberfest every weekend, every summer, was the Stouts Brewery in Adamstown, Pennsylvania. I believe they either closed or the brewmaster retired or something, but it was close to where I grew up, and they basically recreated Oktoberfest every weekend, and it was really awesome because they had all those songs and the Ziggy Zackis, and everybody's raising their glasses, and strangers from all over. One of the cool things about German beer halls is they have those long wooden tables, just like a big long picnic table, and whoever's next to you is pretty much your friend pretty quickly. Everybody's festive, and there's no snobbery. It creates a good feeling of unity, drinking with others around you, total strangers that by the end of the night aren't strangers, they're friends. So great times. And then other Oktoberfests. Anybody else have any other Oktoberfest memories, places they went that might have had? I do remember the mug that I have in my hand, the 1 liter mug that's from the Penn Brewery just outside of Pittsburgh. I remember being there with a couple really good friends a few years ago, and they had a special that if you bought the mug, you got a discount on refills. Like I think it was something like $5 for a liter. So I do remember I had a pretty good time that night. I had more than one of these and slept very well. So I'm going to have another one. Yeah. Anybody
Sprecher.
else? Any other Oktoberfest they've attended that comes to mind?
Yeah, Sprecher in Milwaukee always had a great one, and it was in this big park, just right outside of the downtown area, a little bit north and west of the downtown, and they would have all these beer trucks and serve the Sprecher Oktoberfest, and it was always a little stronger than people expected it to be, and it was always such a drunk fest, but it was so much fun. I don't know if they I'm sure everyone's canceled if they. I'm sure they don't do that one anymore, and I think Sprecher might have been sold, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd have to look that one up. But that was always worth the trip to Milwaukee from Chicago and grab a hotel and just get annihilated. It was fun.
Nice, yeah. The Midwest is pretty good for festivals and a lot of German population, German heritage. Anybody else? Steve, any Oktoberfest down in SoCal?
There was an area down in Torrance, California. It was called Alpine Village. That was always.
You still there?
No, it looks like we lost Steve.
Boss, you Steve. How about you, Chris?
Not really so much. I mean, for me, you guys are the guys that introduced me to the actual style, things like that. I'm just right now. I'm thinking of like Uncle Pete. Uncle Pete was a part of the first Oktoberfest show we did. He really seemed to enjoy it. He had experimented with making the beer, all that stuff. Hey, looks like Steve's back.
Yeah, sorry about that. For some reason, my computer hung up on me. But what I was saying was that there was this little area, this little place down in Torrance, California, and it's called Alpine Village. And every Oktoberfest, they always hosted something there. In fact, I want to say last year was the last year they did it. But it was in that same style. It was kind of like a little small little shopping and restaurants, and they kind of had that German feel, and even the benches were kind of like what you would see on Oktoberfest with the long benches, like you were talking about, JR. And but yeah, that was always a thing, and then it had to like go in for weeks, and you'd come down there and have some German style beer.
All right, well, I got 33 ounces of Shiner Oktoberfest in front of me. So a lot of people know the brewery. It's actually, gosh, I hope I can even pronounce this. Spoetzel, Spoetzl. Obviously. Spoetzel. Okay. See, I botched it. So I'll drink. Zicky-zacky, oi, oi, oi. But this is a Martin-style beer brewed in Shiner, Texas, at the Spoetzel Brewery. And they're most well known for their Shiner Bock, which is a very popular and widely distributed brand, and obviously a German style. But when I was searching, I was kind of struggling to find some local craft Oktoberfest. I found that Santan one that I reviewed earlier, but I saw this and I was like, you know what? I had to buy a whole 6-pack of it, and I'm like, I got that 33-ounce mug, so I got half the 6-pack in this mug now. And fortunately, there's 1-liter mugs they give you. They give you like at least an inch and a half for headspace. So I poured 3 bottles in here, and it was not full to the brim. Although with the foam it was, and the foam is settled. But this thing is quite a bit maltier than the previous Oktoberfest I had. It's a little bit darker, not quite as clear. It's got more of a copper amber murky appearance. But boy, it's got more flavor. It's definitely more medium bodied and it's a little bit thicker than the other one I had. So let's just take a taste of this. Again, not quite as clear as the other one, but I just get on the aroma, I don't get anything but malt. It's just like a malt bomb, which is not a bad thing. So tasting, I don't get as much of the breadiness as the other one, but this is just, definitely that caramel. Not as nutty either, but just a really more malt forward. It's malt, a little bit of caramel, maybe a tad of nuttiness. Not really the breadiness of the other one. So it's 5.7% ABV. I'm on their website. I'll read you a quick description of the beer. It says, Oktoberfest, just like the world's largest beer festival, our little brewery has Bavarian roots and a long tradition of honoring tradition, which is why we made this Marzen-style ale with German-grown Hallertau tradition. That doesn't make you polka dance for joy. We don't know what will. Enjoy a cold one with a hot pretzel. First brewed in 1996, 5.7%, 18 IBUs. And there's several awards here, including the gold medal and the 2012 GABF. So it's a great beer. It's quite a bit different than the first one. I imagine if you tasted 4 or 5 different Oktoberfests, you'd get 4 or 5 different variations. But even though they're the same style, there's some variants, and that's kind of cool. So I will be posting a photograph on Instagram of this full 33-ounce liter, along with half of a 6-pack is already in it. So something tells me I'm probably not going to get more than this mug down, though, because this is a lot of beer, man. And that just goes to show you, man, all those people that attend the the Oktoberfest, they put 3 of these down in a day, no problem. I mean, that's 3 liters of beer. That's a lot of beer. And I hope they have a lot of porta potties. Has anybody ever been to the Oktoberfest? I know I haven't.
I have not.
No, I have not. I know people that have gone, but I definitely haven't.
Let's just make a beer nuts pact. If any one of us hits the lottery, we will take each other to the next one that's open. So,
yeah,
ziggy zaki, oi 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 to that. Okay.
Forever allowed to be in crowds again.
My brother's from Texas, and he introduced me to Shiner. He used to bring me 6 packs of Shiner Bock, and then thankfully they brought it out here to the West Coast, so you can find it a lot of places. But the Shiner Bock is a great beer.
Yep, it's their Oktoberfest is pretty good too. So, does anybody have another beer they want to review, or are we pretty much wrapping it up, or?
No, I have one yet.
All right. And, let's hear some more music first.
That's what I alluded to at the beginning of the show. Play your music.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Like the Eins, Dry. It sounds like sofa. I think it's sofa or something, but it could put you on the sofa if you do a few too many of these cheers. But I'll shut up and let Doug talk now.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Yeah, sure, the players bring some skill to the game, but if I don't put them in my lineup, who cares? Not me. I'm Eric Rubino, fantasy baseball GM and league runner-up 2 of the last 9 years. I use the progressive Name Your Price tool with options based on my budget. And for a guy that's used to being in control, it fits. Like this runner-up t-shirt. Champ gets a trophy, but you can't wear a trophy. Boom.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net.
All right, yeah. So, in the past, we've always done, not always, but we've done Oktoberfest episodes, and we've also done Harvest Ale episodes and some Fresh Hop episodes, and I didn't think we had one this year, so I just sort of fold this one in. This is my 5th year of doing a Harvest Ale. And this year is a pale ale, and it is called Tea Maker Pale Ale. And I used the Tea Maker hops that I had gotten a few years back from Steve and Andrea, and they're very prolific. They're not bitter at all. They're just known for having kind of floral and citrusy notes in them. They're more designed for tea, so not a lot of brewers use them. I decided to add some hops into the beer, and then use those fresh hops as sort of a aromatics and a little bit of citrus flavors, and I think this one came out really well. I'll post a picture of what the beer looks like. Very golden in color. The nose is rather floral and somewhat earthy. We got a lot of citrus on this. There's some bitterness. I used Magnum, Amarillo, and Cascade hops on the front end of brewing the beer, so that's where the bitterness came from. I think I got a really nice balance on the bitterness to the maltiness to make it a good pale ale. I know that John Golden really enjoyed what he had last night of it. It just went in the tap. And I can segue this into a little bit of homebrew news as well. This one is going to a competition out in Yakima, Washington for fresh hopped beers only. So I will. I'll get that sent in. That's being judged in October. I'm looking forward to that. I did have one competition that did not get canceled. Actually, it was canceled, and that was rescheduled, and that was the Charlie York Cup. And they scaled it way back, did some virtual judging on it. I entered an IPA and a double IPA. The IPA didn't do so well, and I'm curious as to why. I haven't seen the sheet. I thought it was a really good beer, but my double IPA took second place in the American Strong category with a 39.5 score. So whoever beat me had a hell of a score. And then I also brewed, and we're chuckling about this with John Golden. He was out of town, so I ended up brewing, and we had talked about the Newcastle Brown Ale clone. And that got entered into competition, and that took third place in the brown ale category. So got some hardware on the way. That was just judged about a week or so ago, and that was pretty exciting. It was good to finally get some feedback from a competition where my beer wasn't destroyed or turned into hand sanitizer, and that just kind of killed me. I had 3 different competitions where my beer was turned into hand sanitizer.
Ouch.
Yeah, but I guess it's better than just having to throw it away. If somebody gets some use out of it, I guess. I've got some new brewing equipment. I think JR, you saw what I had picked up, and
oh yeah,
this mash tun is the bomb, man. It's just such a joy to work with, and working with pumps, and I feel like a real professional. Spilling beer all over the floor with this thing,
Well, congrats on the hardware, and I'm sure with the new equipment, things are only going to get better.
Yeah, this beer that this wet hopped harvest ale that was done on it. I have another beer that's in the fermenter. It's a Galaxy IPA, all New Zealand hops. That came out phenomenal. It's just starting to get into its own as of today. Yesterday still had a little bit of a yeast hangover on it because I used a New England style yeast, and those usually need to rest for about a week or so and get rid of that kind of foul taste from that yeast. But once that's out, they start to taste really good. That one's awesome. I love Galaxy hops. I love New Zealand hops. So that's my drinking batch. And this pale ale came out at a full 5 gallons, so I'm only sending 3 bottles away. I'm not bottling a whole bunch of it off. I might bottle a few off for some friends, and otherwise I just decided I needed 2 drinking batches on the keg for once, not trying to jam them all into bottles. And so that's kind of nice. And I think next on the docket is maybe a Russian Imperial Stout, and we're going to put that mash tun to the test.
And I will be begging you for bottles of that.
Oh yeah, you got to do it. I got a 20-gallon mash tun to make a 5-gallon batch of beer, so sky's the limit on how much grain I can put in this thing.
It's nice to hear you getting recognized, Doug. I've always thought you have made exceptional beer.
Well, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I enjoy the recognition. It's not why I do it, but I do enjoy it. I like the competitive edge of it, the competitive side. In my brew club, it's nice to get that recognition for the club as well. And especially when things are crappy right now, not a lot of people are able to do things, and to see a few things trickle through, I think helps some other people out. And, if I can share a recipe or two with somebody in the club, or, share some tips and techniques, that's what, to me, what it's all about. It's about having fun and drinking some good beer, making some good beer, and getting the people around you better. That's what, part of the club is, making your teammates around you better.
Amen. And well, I'm not yet brewing out here. I'm eyeing up the equipment, and my biggest challenge is I'm going to need 2 different vessels to chill, one to lager it, or not even just lager, just ferment at the proper temperatures. So my goal is to wait until it starts cooling off out here, and here it is mid-September, almost October, and we're still in the 90s, 100 range, and I need to be down in the 70s before I start brewing, but I've got some brewing equipment. I just got to get a couple fermentation chamber and a kegerator or something to store the beer in, and I'll be in business. My wife's going to be very upset with all the room in the garage I'm going to take up, but you know what? Too bad.
What is autumn for you, like 80?
Well, right now it's, goes down maybe 75, 80 at night, but it's, 90, 95 during the day right now.
Yeah, you're going to need some type of a fermentation chamber, JR, or pretty cost prohibitive to have like a glycol system, which would be optimal for you. But some type of a secondary keezer that you could turn into a fermentation vessel, run it at 65 degrees, 68 degrees.
I've actually been looking into some stuff I saw on YouTube about guys converting mini fridges into like a fermentation chamber.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yep.
I'm probably only looking at, doing one batch at a time. I'm not going to have multiple batches going at the same time. So I can probably get away with, I might have to put a collar on a mini fridge. I'm looking into some things. I found a mini fridge that doesn't have a freezer that might be a good match, and it's not that expensive. That'll probably have to be that, and then I'll have to get some kind of a kegerator or a keezer. So fortunately, I'm employed and making good money now, so my wife can't complain about the expenditure. It's just going to be the space for everything I need. That's what's going to be. I've already given her a heads up, and she scowled at me, and you know what? Too bad.
No, that's right. I mean, that's part of what you do, and you've always done it. So, it's like, can't be expected to give up your entire life because somebody doesn't want to let you have the space.
Well, you know what? The other thing about it is I'm not going to have like 15 different things all over the garage. I'm going to get a electric brewing system and try to get a 220 hookup so I can boil quickly. And it's going to be everything will be in one system to brew with, and then I'll have just a fermenter and a serving. So I'm going to need 3 places for 3 things pretty much. I won't have like pots and pans all over, pots and buckets all over the place and fermenter. Well, I guess I need a fermenter too, but no, that'll be in the fermenter. So, yeah, I mean, I already know exactly what I need, and trust me, my plan is in place. And once the stuff shows up, and she'll be horrified, but she'll get over it because you got to give and take in a relationship. And like I said, at least now I'm in a position to make the buy, and I'm going to just do it and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, move it into one of the kids' bedrooms and get some bunk beds for them.
Well, it's probably all going to go in the garage, and it gets very hot in the garage. So, but do what you got to do, right?
I bet if you learned to make wine, you could cushion the blow a little bit.
Oh, it's probably not, because my wife doesn't drink anything much. She's pretty seldom. She will have an occasional glass of wine. Look, it's just a space thing, Mm-hmm. We had a lot more space in our house in Michigan. The house here isn't as big, but we actually had rooms we never used in Michigan. But I will brew on.
Yeah, I mean, you can always get started with some Kvik. That yeast ferments at 100 degrees.
That has been suggested to me. So, I am in a brew club here, and I do go to the meetings, and our brew club is a little different than the ones I've been in. They have competitions in the club, and I've been very valuable because I'm not brewing, so I'm a perfect judge for the club because I have no conflict of interest. If you have a beer that you're entering, you can't be a judge. So for now, that's what I'll be, and hopefully this time next year I'll be entering beers in those competitions.
Awesome.
So I certainly will be. My goal is to have equipment by probably November or so, but certainly I'm on track to have my world famous the Irish Stout. What did we call that thing?
The Irish Car Bomb.
Irish Car Bomb Stout. So I used Irish cream flavored coffee to make a coffee stout. That's how I got the Irish cream flavor in it. I was originally going to put like some kind of a syrup in, and the lady goes, "Well, why? We have Irish cream flavored coffee." I'm like, "Wow, why didn't I think of that?" So Irish whiskey, we soaked the coffee in the Irish whiskey and put something else in there too. I can't remember what it was, but I got the recipe, and I can't wait to brew it. But I'm hoping that won't be my first brew because I want to brew a couple batches before that.
Don't you have some lactose or
vanilla beans? Vanilla beans.
Vanilla beans. That's right.
No lactose. Nope. Vanilla beans. Lactose probably not needed for that. All I know is everybody said, should I make any adjustments to the beer? They're like, no, don't change anything. It was fine the way it was. And Doug, if you remember, we brewed together and we had the same base stout. And that base stout recipe was wonderful. I think you brought that to me, so thank you for that. But
yeah, and I still have that. I've used it a few times.
I might pick you up for it. I know I have Beersmith somewhere, but yeah, I can't wait to brew again. So
yeah, I think from what I remember, it needs a few adjustments. It needs in order to hit the ABVs because it wasn't hitting ABV, but part of that too was getting malt from where we were, and the grind wasn't right, and just one thing after another was never right with that place. So hopefully you got a good source for homebrew supplies there.
I got guys in my club that have their own grinders, so
okay.
Mills, so I'll borrow their mills. Yep, learned a lot over the years, and can't wait to get back to it. And you know what? The one good thing about being out here, even though I have to go the extra step and get all these extra because of the heat, you know what? I can lager now because I'm going to have a temperature-controlled fermentation. I used to just ferment ales in the house at 66 degrees year-round in Michigan. Can't do that here, but once I get what I have to do, I'll be able to brew. So maybe next Oktoberfest we'll be drinking one of mine.
Wait, so I thought of a couple pieces of beer news because I did hear this that Yuengling is going national. They're not selling out, but they've just signed a distribution deal with, I believe it was Molson Coors.
Molson Coors, yep.
To distribute nationally. So they are going to be everywhere in the country. Previously, there were a lot of places where you couldn't get it. I don't know. They're on the kind of the edge of what would be considered craft. I wouldn't consider them craft, but they are specialty beer. And, they've got a special place in people's hearts in the United States because they are the oldest functioning brewery in the U.S.
Well, they're still considered craft because they're independently owned. But once they go national, first of all, they're partnering with Miller Coors. Even though their ownership isn't there, Miller Coors is going to help them brew what they need for. Right now, they only distribute east of the Mississippi, I believe. So now,
with exceptions, though. I mean, you can't get it in Illinois. You can't get it in Michigan.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can get it in Illinois. You still can't get it in Michigan, though.
You can get it in Ohio, but not Michigan.
Right.
But, yep, I mean, we always talk about bringing more good beer to more good people. Maybe, maybe this is part of that. I know it's not a small craft brewery by any means, but still independently and family owned, at least for now. And Miller Coors, while they are partnering with them to help them brew it, it is not an ownership deal. It is a partnership. So I don't know where that falls in with the Brewers Association definition, whether that'll be a violation of their craft beer designation card. And frankly, I don't think they care or we care.
I don't think they care, and they've marched to their own drummer forever.
Yep.
So, you know what? God bless them. They don't need to be conforming to somebody else's ideas of what they should be. They were around long before these organizations were even a blip in anybody's mind. So,
I grew up.
You know what? They're grandfathered in as far as I'm concerned. They can do whatever the hell they want.
I grew up about an hour from that brewery, and that was like the local cheap beer when I grew up, and then it became iconic when I got, after college age. And hey, I'm happy for him. Dick Yuengling is a guy that brewery's been in his family for a long time, and he's the kind of guy that even though he's like the number one man there, I've heard stories that distributors would drive up there and he'd drive a forklift and load up a tractor trailer full of kegs and stuff and cases and pallets, as the guy in charge of the whole thing. That's just the kind of guy he is. He's not like sit in an office and, he's a hands-on guy and he would do all the dirty work. So those are the kind of people you root for, man.
So I had one other bit of news, and I don't know, JR, you might remember a brewery called Five Rabbit out of Chicago, and they did sort of Latin-themed beers. They were Hispanic-owned. They did quite a bit of Latin spice in their beers. They made some really interesting stuff. Well, apparently they're closing up shop, tap room and production facility, distribution. They're closing all that up, and they're just going to shrink themselves down to a local neighborhood brew pub in the city of Chicago, and they're looking in sort of a Hispanic sort of neighborhood. So, they're not going away. They're just sort of reeling it in. I know this story has happened 100 times over, where people got too big and they thought distribution was the way to go, and there's too much beer out there. There's too much space, and the logistics are bad. And, you just get lost in the shuffle if you don't have somebody out in the streets constantly repping your brand. So there's somebody I always really, really enjoyed their beers. Such unique flavors in some of them, and kind of a shame to see them go in that regard, but hopefully they'll pop up and do well.
Yeah, you know what? It reminds me of Liberty Street in Plymouth, Michigan. My good friend Joe Walters, who I used to teach with at the Schoolcraft Brewing program, often told me that he made great profits in his local tap room that just catered to the locals. But everything he made there got pissed away in the distribution end of things, and trying to be in Meyer and all the chain stores and in the craft beer, the party stores. And finally, I think it was just right after I moved away, they decided to pull the plug on the production facility. They sold all their equipment, and they just decided to be a brew pub. And you know what? They're in the black again. They were bleeding on the distribution side. It's just too competitive. Like you said, there's only so much shelf space to go around, and the big players bully the space out of, AB bought, all these craft brands, and they're all in great distribution, and it kicks out the little guys. So, you know what? I'm happy for him. He's happier. He's like, and I didn't need all that nonsense anyway. Now you just run the local brew pub, and you're profitable. Everything you sell is your profit. There's no layers of distributors and retailers taking money. Everything you sell is, it's a lot more profitable enterprise. So that reminds me of the same thing that these guys are going through, Five Rabbits. So
yeah, well, unfortunately, when you have a lot of investors involved and you're just trying to scrape some things together, and you take money from people and they have big ideas of how things are supposed to work, and they're not in the industry, they can steer a ship very wrongly very quickly. And I've seen that happen several times, where somebody in the investor side is saying, we got to be here, we got to be here, we got to be here, and you're like, dude, slow down. You got to have recognition, then you get there.
Investors, all they want to do is see their product in the big chain store, and they're like, see, that's me. Well, you want to make money, or you want to say, see, that's me. All right, anything else? Anybody have anything to add? Can we get one more Ziggy Zaki, Chris?
We sure
and we'll go from Munich to Mexico City. All right. Good stuff. And take one final toast to the Fox. I just looked up the Fox, by the way. His real name is Bill Foster.
Mm-hmm.
Born in 1932. Departed this world in 2000, but he was billed as the world's fastest beer drinker.
So that's why he had the gig.
And on the TV show. So cheers to the Fox. And cheers to everybody listening. Thanks for listening. Chris, you want to give the where you can find us and where you can contact us and all that?
At Beer Nuts Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, Beer Nuts Podcast at ChristopherMedia.net if you want to drop us an email. There is an Amazon banner at ChristopherMedia.net, so when you're getting things delivered until the end of time, like we're all going to now, you can help us out without paying us anything extra. And where you listen to us, the list is bigger now. Amazon's in the podcast business, so you can find us on Amazon Music. They just started that. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker.com, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever there's a podcast, that is where you can find us.
Yes, and one final thought. Chris and I were talking last night. We might bring back this glass.
Yes.
Win this glass.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, mine are all broken.
I think another run is about to be purchased, so stay tuned for further details, my friends. And so one final ziggy zai, oi, 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 as they say in old Mexico City.
A-M-F.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.